All right, coming at you from Newcastle Fieldhouse, my old pal Matt Denison is joining with me here this afternoon. We just watched kind of a stunning finish, I would say, Matt. It looked like Lawrence North's game to win. We're at the Semistate here, 4A Newcastle, and Lawrence North led by 9 with 7 minutes left, and then didn't score for a large chunk of the fourth quarter. Jeffersonville comes back. Trey Singleton had a great game, 25 points, and then Michael Cooper really showed up in the fourth quarter, and I know he did that last week as well. Played a really good game down the stretch. So Jeffersonville moves on. Wanted to ask you, because you know this team really well. Obviously, Sharon Wilkerson over there was imploring the crowd, celebrating with the crowd, but. Kind of a cool story. They get to play Ben Davis tonight, and I guess first of all, are you surprised by this? What they've been able to accomplish, and especially today with the big win?
I'm not surprised by the fact that Jeff is in the semi-state, but I am a little surprised that they were able to beat Lawrence North. This Jeff team is good. They're balanced. Michael Cooper has been the story of the tournament for the Devils. Trey Singleton played his best game probably of the tournament for sure, but he had a couple, maybe, I don't want to say off games, but wasn't quite himself the last couple games. So Jeff got it together. Big win. I called it a stunning win on the radio. You used that great word as well to start our interview or our video today. Surprised, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. But this Jeff team, they've been building for this. I mean, Sharon Wilkerson didn't have a lot of home games this year. He entered some of the tough tournaments that you don't typically see some of the Southern Indiana teams doing multiple tournaments. He did that. So he has really challenged this Jeff team this season to get out of their comfort zone, and all of it's been done with this type of competition in mind. 4A Central Indiana competition, be ready for the Ben Davises, the Lawrence Norths, and they've got it. They're back again tonight. Surprising, but it's a great thing for Southern Indiana.
And they were kind of able to make a run in the first half, and they you could sense it that when they made that run at the end of the first half, the crowd was really, it was kind of like, well, if they can get this close late, they've got the crowd advantage. They may have more people here tonight, I'm sure, too, people driving up to this game tonight, but you could feel the energy even in that first half, and then it kind of looked like Lawrence North, and I really thought, I've seen this Lawrence North team a lot this season and covered them a lot. Once they got that lead, they kind of go to that four corners, kind of what Jack Kiefer used to run when they get the lead. They were almost not quite to that point, but even Chris Giffen after the game said, we're almost at that 8-point lead, almost to that point where we could do that, and their guards make it tough to come back on. So you almost got to that point. Jeffersonville, obviously, going to Trey, I think, was a big thing. They obviously made that a big priority, but speak to that crowd. I mean, that felt like a Jeffersonville North here in Newcastle.
Coach Wilkerson knows what he's doing. I mean, to play up to the crowd. He has done amazing at Jeff since he's returned, and he's got the crowd bought in. The Jeff people, there will be more here tonight. I would bet on that for sure. But I thought the crowd was great. We broadcasted just above the Jeff crowd, so like most of the fourth quarter, we had to stand up with the crowd standing up. They were very much into the game as Jeff came storming back. So, it's an advantage. I'm a little envious. I think you were here last week when this place was full. It wasn't a sellout this week, but I thought there was a good crowd, especially from Jeff. So definitely played to their advantage down the stretch. And I think based on what we saw this morning from the four teams that were here in the semifinals, I think the crowd could benefit Jeffersonville again tonight. But I couldn't see it as well. I saw your video after, but Coach Wilkerson definitely playing into the crowd after the game, and that's great stuff. I know he was thrilled to win this one and hopefully get a little rest and come back tonight and see what happens.
The advantage here is for Ben Davis as far as that goes. They were able to rest their guys, their main guys, pretty much the end of the third and all of the fourth quarter. So Mark Zachary didn't even see the floor. KJ Wyndham didn't have to come back out. Mark White, their three of their main guys were basically sitting for the last 10 minutes, and they get to leave early and go back to the hotel and get off their feet, which is a pretty good advantage in this situation. Ben Davis is a team that they like this place too. They won the Hall of Fame last year here. They won the Semistate here last year. They won today, obviously, so they're 5-0 in recent history here too. So it'll be interesting how that. Corey Taylor, their coach, said, we came here last night to practice. We missed every shot in the first 5 minutes of practice, and then they got going a little bit. So I think they feel good about where they're at too. But yeah, I know you didn't get a chance to see all that game, Ben Davis earlier, but they played really well. 75-49. They knocked off Center Grove, and Center Grove, a really good team. that has shot the heck out of the ball all year and had a 15-game winning streak coming in. Ben Davis, I thought Mark Zachary really, kind of dominated that game from a point guard standpoint. He didn't dominate scoring. I think he only had 10 points, but he had 11 assists. And the first 4 possessions of the game, he had assists on. So he really controlled the game from that standpoint. What do you think? I mean, as far as tonight goes, I know you haven't seen a lot of Ben Davis. You've seen a lot of Jeffersonville, obviously. What do you think the keys are? I mean, pretty easily, I think going to Singleton is going to be something they're going to try to establish.
Yeah, I think Douglas and Singleton, especially Singleton, were great in the first game today. Jeffersonville seemed to have luck getting it to them. A little high-low action, getting the looks down low. I think that obviously has to happen. But Ben Davis, just my first thoughts of them, it's the first time I've seen him other than maybe a little video earlier in the year. I mean, I knew about Wyndham, but Zachary's really good too, and they are legitimate. So I think Jeff has to come out and do what they've done in the tournament and do what they've done a lot in some of their big regular season wins. It's got to be Cooper, Singleton. It's got to be a 2 or 3 man front for them to have an opportunity to win this thing, and it sounds crazy to say, but to go on to Indianapolis.
Yeah, so. Pretty cool. And on the other side of that bracket, Fishers did win this morning up at Elkhart. They had a little bit of a battle on their hands, and we didn't know for sure. They ended up beating Crown Point 48-37. Keenan Garner was injured actually here last week in that game. Didn't play the last 4 minutes, but he comes back and was able to play today, give them a boost, obviously. And they'll play Fort Wayne tonight. This kind of a matchup we've been looking forward to. At least, Wayne has come down here and played a couple times, not here in Newcastle, but to Indianapolis. And obviously they're very good. They beat Mishawaka 62-47. And then in kind of looking around, I thought one of the, I know you love the Seymour gym as I do too, but that was a really good group there at Seymour today. Scottsburg won the second game 58-45. I wasn't able to track that one as much, but the Guerin-Danville game, very good game. Guerin ends up winning 57-52. That foursome there, a really good group, and Scottsburg will play Guerin tonight. That's a rematch of last year. So Scottsburg, I know that's a little closer to your home down there in southern Indiana. That's a team that's really been building these last couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised either way in that game, although Guerin won to go to state last year and played in the state finals.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think that will be a good one in Seymour. In fact, my plan was, if Jeff wasn't successful in the morning and we weren't back for the radio game tonight, to hit Seymour on the way home if Scottsburg wins. I think Scottsburg and Guerin will be terrific. I saw Bossy last week down in Huntingburg before Jeff played, and man, they've got a lot of talent when they put it all together, and I really thought that would be a nip and tuck game for Scottsburg, and to see them win 58-45, it was a great day for the Warriors, and we'll see what happens tonight. I think that game should be fantastic, and I've got to, as a Southern Indiana guy, Kyle, I've got to give a shout out to Brownstown as well. We were trying to track that game while we were here at Newcastle. I've said all along, I think Brownstown is a favorite to win a state championship in 2A. I love Jack Benner, but they barely squeaked by Park Tudor by 1 point, 50-49. So I think they'll be, I assume, the big favorite tonight over Park Heritage, but you never know when you get to this time of March. But for Southern Indiana, for far Southern Indiana, it was a great day. Just thrilled for Scottsburg and Brownstown, and of course for my friend Coach Wilkerson in Jeffersonville.
Park Tudor actually had a shot there. Hudson Horvath, I saw, had the ball, and he's their top guy with the shot. So you're sitting there as a Brownstown. If you're a Brownstown fan, hoping that shot misses, it did. But Park Tudor kind of thought, Tim Adams, known him for a long time, has done a great job with that program. And obviously they're right on the doorstep of knocking off the number one team in the state in 2A. So good season for Park Tudor. Park Heritage, like you said, they beat Forest Park 64-54. Park Heritage, a team, seems like they're always good. And I saw them this summer at the Charlie Hughes and thought they were a good team there. Also in 2A, should mention also that Wapahani Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian game up at Lafayette, Jeff. That'll be a fantastic game. Wapahani, Coach Matt Luce, talked to him this week and then a little bit yesterday too, just through messages. But they're going through the tornado situation that they had on Friday night, and kind of casts a different light over everything tonight. But just from a basketball standpoint, I mean, Wapahani Blackhawk, that looks about as good as any game tonight. Yeah,
should be a great game. And while we're talking, the story on coaches and fathers in advance of Semistate weekend, your work is always great, Kyle, what you do for the state, but to bring in that father-son mention there with Coach Adams and talking to Coach Luce, I know as well. got a lot of traction down our way, and I know it was well read across the state,
you.
so that was tremendous as you talk about Wapahani. That comes in my mind. So
appreciate that. Yeah, and then also in 1A, Bethesda Christian from our area, they were able to advance over Greenwood Christian. I'm a little surprised by that score. It was 53-35. I thought that would be a little bit closer of a game. Bethesda very good this year. They'll play Bar Reeve tonight, and Bar Reeve, that may have been a little bit of a surprise. Evansville Christian had a great season. Josiah Dunham, a great player for them, but Bar Reeve, man, they just always they're always around this time of year. They're going to bring the house, I'm sure, at the Hatchet House tonight, and play a really good Bethesda team that I've seen over the last couple of years. That's a legitimate team with some senior leadership. But yeah, Bar Reeve's going to have all of the community there, I'm sure, tonight at the Hatchet House. But that'll do it for us. We're going to go get something to eat here and watch some basketball probably, as we like to do. But appreciate it. Again, Matt, how can people listen tonight if they're unable to make it to the game?
If you're across the state, bigxsportsradio.com. You can click listen live. If you're in southern Indiana, 1450 AM, 96.1 FM. So the traditional radio call. It's always fun in March, Kyle. With
Absolutely.
These big games.
And that'll be Jeffersonville, Ben Davis, and that'll be 8 p.m. Start tonight. Should be right at 8 p.m. on the dot. So you can tune in there. We'll have updates, obviously, and story should be out here from the semifinal games and tonight as well. So have that later for you. But appreciate Matt for
Thank
joining
you, Kyle.
me.
Appreciate it.